Hello, everyone, and welcome to NorthStar Community, our online talk. Always glad to have you joining me, and always hope these are helpful to you. And we just really am excited. I'm just so excited about so many stories I'm hearing about people who are starting to recover, starting to catch glimpses of a rich, full, meaningful life, starting to see that life can be different, seeing that living addictively is is just a bad way to go. I don't know how to say it to you. And I don't say that with judgment. I just say that we know how destructive living addictively is. We we live our lives in anger and shame and fear and resentment and jealousy and every we just have so many threats going on in our lives, and we create so much chaos in our lives, and we live with so much hurt, and it isn't the way you have to go. But the problem is, what we have to keep understanding about addiction is it's habitual behavior to avoid pain. And we don't want to be in so much pain, but we have to be in pain to get better. And so, again, like Russell Brand says, addiction starts with pain and addiction ends with pain. And what that means is it's all this emotional pain, the trauma, the abandonment in our childhood, our adulthood, wherever it was. But for many, it's in our childhood, where we created this false narrative that we're the problem. We couldn't see that maybe it's our parents who were having issues. We couldn't see that they were addicted. What we saw was we had to believe that our parents knew what they were doing and they were there to protect us. And for many of us, that didn't happen. And if it wasn't your parents, it was other people around us that harmed us. It was other people. So, I know of people who have been, their trauma base was being bullied at school. What a terrible life sentence to have to go through school and being bullied. What a tough way to go. There's so many ways that we are traumatized and abandoned in our lives. I mean, I believe everybody's been traumatized. I believe everybody's been abandoned. It's not that, it's what we do with it is what's so destructive. And like I say, it's so for many of us in our families, we just can't get past blaming us for everything. And so let me talk to you now, for you who are family members, friends, relatives, whatever, of people who are addicted, who are causing so much chaos and so much harm in your life. And what we have to always remember is, we talk about addiction is substances, compulsive behaviors, and people. Well, what happens is, for many of us, we become addicted to the addict ourselves. We get focused on them, and we become obsessive with everything they're doing, and we try to figure out ways to help them. We try to figure out ways to support them. We try to figure out ways to help them see how destructive their behaviors are. And not only that, but we have to endure the pain of being around an addict. Addicts lie, addicts steal, addicts cheat, addicts do whatever they need to keep their addiction alive. So as people around them, it's so hard for us because we become, in a way, addicted too. There's this great line about addiction is not contagious, but its effects are. And that's what we got to really look at here, is what can we do to support an addict but not enable them. And the other thing we have to understand is that addicts really have two choices, and for you that are recovering addicts, you know this, is that we either stop being addicted or we die early. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Addictive behaviors, even if it's not substance behavior, but if it's compulsive behaviors, if it's again, bad relationships and all things we do with our people addictions, the fact is our lives are difficult. I mean, for many of us in here, we know that we look back in our lives, we see how we weren't trying to kill ourselves, but we certainly set ourselves up to be harmed. Kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And again, you remember I was talking about this, the Adverse Childhood Experiences Survey. If you score 6 or more on that survey without intervention, you will die on average 20 years younger than someone who does not score high on the ACE. It's such a compelling statistic for us to continue to remember. So family members, what can you do? You're around someone who's addicted. They're living with bravado. They act like they need no one. They despise everybody. They lie. They steal. They just, they even lie when they don't need to lie, right? We all know these things as addicts. So what do? Because the problem is, if we go from supporting to enabling, all we're doing is prolonging the inevitable. The addict has to get on the journey of pain. The addict has to experience so much pain that they will shift their view from it's easier to live addictively than it is to live non-addictively, to starting to see that recovery is less painful than living with addictions. What a huge step. This is pre-step one to step one. When I finally can say my life is unmanageable, I am powerless, and I can't do anything about this, that's when we have a chance to get better. So family members, you can walk around, there's things you did that you're not proud of, and friends, there's things you have shame for, but you can't dwell on that, and it does you no good to put yourself in a weakened condition and then working with addicts, because as addicts, we will use that against you. I always tell people, parenting out of shame, parenting out of grief, parenting out of regret does no one any good. And the other thing you also got to remember is, you know the old line about when do you know an addict's lying? When their lips are moving. Addicts are lying to you. When we're addicted, we're lying. The point is, they're not lying to attack. We're not lying. We're lying to keep. We are lying. We're being dishonest. We're doing what we need to keep our addiction alive. So I just the theme of this talk today is, if you're trying to be there for someone who's addicted, don't personalize the misbehavior that's towards you. It's part of being addictive. Again, we keep talking about the moral model or the medical model. I got this from Dr. Jones, told me this a long time ago, I just love it, is the moral model is you need to quit lying, you need to quit using, you need to suck it up. If you don't stop, you're going to destroy you, you're going to destroy your life, you're going to destroy people around you, you're going to lose your job, blah, 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 blah. As addicts, we don't care. We care about being addicted. So we have to figure out ways to not personalize it when we see loved ones being destructive. Because the best thing we can do is get out of God's way, let Him do His plan, and let this person fail miserably so they can get their life back. I know several people have told me the greatest day of their life was when they were arrested, thrown in jail, when they finally woke up. And let's be honest, for many of us, our heads are hard. Our addictions are strong. It takes a lot for us to flip the script from being in more pain for being addictive than being in more pain for facing the stuff in our life. The medical model also says you got to get with other people, you got to get with professionals, you got to get around support groups. You cannot recover alone. So, family members, this includes you. You cannot deal with a loved one who's addicted by yourself. Find places to go. Hear what you're doing to create some of the issues. Hear the things you can do different. Find out what it really means to love in the right ways and not in enabling ways, because it is so hard not to do that. In fact, I don't think you can do it without support groups, because in effect we are addicted to the loved ones because we care so much about them. We know what they could be. We know how much better they could be, but it's so hard for us. So I'm going to read a couple scriptures here. One is Psalms 46, and this is the Message version, so a little different. Attention, all. See the marvels of God. He plants flowers and trees all over the earth, bans war from pole to pole, breaks all the weapons across his knee. Step out of the traffic. Take a long, loving look at me, your high God, above everything. Another way you may have seen us is be still and let God do his work. Psalms 27, I'm sure now I'll see God's goodness in the exuberant earth. Stay with God, take heart, don't quit. I'll say it again, stay with God. So much easier said than done. But the fact is that every time we intervene, every time we bail out an addict, every time we give them money, every time we provide them a place to stay, every time we do all these things, what we're doing is prolonging the inevitable. The only way an addict recovers is when the pain of being addicted is stronger than the pain of dealing with the emotional pain that they've suffered in their lives. Dealing with their shame, dealing with all that stuff is so hard to do. And when you're immersed in it with them, someone you love deeply, you want so bad for them to get it, the more you want it, the less likely they're going to get it. You have to get out of the way. Always use the analogy, the first house I bought had a zoysia grass. Now you may recognize that. It's that really thick carpet, and it goes brown in the fall and winter, then it greens back up in the summer. And it's a very tough grass, So I called the county agent. I said, well, should I be fertilizing it? Should I be watering it? Should I be, putting weed killer on it to get the weeds out? And his quote was, the more you love it, the more you hurt it. I hope you understand the analogy. You have a loved one in your life who's addicted. They're acting out. They're creating chaos. They're causing problems. What you have to say to yourself, because I love this person so much, I'm going to stop doing anything. They have to face the consequences. They have to have enough pain in their life to get well. It's hard. It's tough. And it can be dangerous. It can be scary. But for people on here who you're recovering from addiction, you know it's true. You know the only way you recover is when you lost everything. It's hard, I get it. But it's what it is. So again, stay out of the way, trust God a little bit more, be still, listen to Him, let God do His work, and you'll be amazed at what will happen. Every recovering addict I know who is successful at being in recovery all say the same thing. It was when they lost everything, they were able to recover. So I appreciate you hearing this. It's hard. I understand how hard it is to be a family member or a friend who loves someone so much and seeing them being so destructive. But there's nothing you can do about it. And the more you do, you're probably harming them. So trust this, trust the process. Think medical model, not moral model. It's not about willpower. Once we become addicted, it's very hard to not be addicted. And so they have to have pain to stop. So we meet on Wednesdays and Fridays at 6:30 here at Walnut Grove Baptist Church. We have our regular church service at 10:15 on Sundays. All great to come. We have childcare. We have provide full meals on Wednesdays and Fridays. So we take a lot away the reasons for you not to come. I know it's frightening if you don't know anybody, but come give us a try. And for you that are already here at NorthStar, keep coming, keep joining us, keep helping others get well, help you keep staying healthier. It's a wonderful journey what we're seeing here, and be part of it. And if you ever want to get a hold of me, my email is csimpson@wgva.church. Anyway, I'm going to close today with Philippians 4. It's one of my favorite, very positive. Paul wrote this to the Philippians. Celebrate God all day, every day. Revel in Him. Make it as clear as you can to all you meet that you're on their side, working with them and not against them. Help them see that the Master is about to arrive. Don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Before you know it, a sense of God's wholeness, everything coming together for good, will come and settle you down. It's wonderful what happens when Christ displaces worry at the center of your life. I almost say amen to that. Again, thank you for joining us, and stay in touch, and hopefully you'll see some of you sometime. And if you don't live in the area, reach out and let me know what's going on in your life, and you need support around you. So